You guys just want to skip Paris?
Or at least delay it a little bit.
I'm starving.
Maybe it's like you're saying, like life's kind of catapulting you towards something.
So right now, it's catapulting me towards some hangover food.
What'd you say?
I don't know, man. It was something I said in Venice. I was caught up in that European high, I'm not gonna lie.
Nah. You should have heard this guy. He was talking about how life is catapulting him towards something like some greater purpose or something like that.
Spencer said that?
I know, right?
You still think that?
I mean, I guess, but nothing's actually stopping us. If we weren't meant to be on the train tomorrow, something would physically stop us. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by a greater force.
Okay, Isaac Newton.
I'm telling you, man, he's been deep as hell on this trip. I can't even deal with it.
Quiet on the set!
This is Michael Faulkner, and it is showtime at the February 6, 2018 edition of the Weekly Podioplex. Brought to you on the Chronocrypt Network. Starting with the box office report, Jumanji regained the lead on Super Bowl weekend, traditionally one of the slowest weekends of the year. That tradition holds once again, with the top 12 bringing $71 million to the table. That's 12% lower than last year and 18th overall since 1982. Your historical big winners for the Superb Owl are Kung Fu Panda 3 in 2016, Avatar in 2010, and Taken from 2009. And all three of those weekends broke $100 million in total. The countdown begins with number 10 and Paddington 2, down 1 from 9th. At number 9 is The Shape of Water, down 1 from 8th. At 8th is Den of Thieves, down 1 from 7th. In 7th is 12 Strong, down 1 from 6th. And capping the bottom 5 is Hostiles, bringing the most significant drop of 3 from last week's 3rd. The top 5 begins with The Post, holding position with $5.2 million and a total of $67.2 million. In 4th place is The Greatest Showman, also holding steady with $7.7 million and a total of $137.4 million. In 3rd place is our only new release, Winchester, premiering to $9.3 million. Now that's exactly as expected, and it played well for the genre with audiences scoring a B-. Critics, however, were not impressed, offering a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 28% on Metacritic. In 2nd place is last week's winner, Maze Runner: The Death Cure, adding $10.5 million to a total of $40 million. And trading spaces into 1st place is Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, picking up $10.9 million for a total of $352.6 million. Jumanji is now the 3rd highest grossing film in Sony Columbia's catalog, sitting square in the middle of the Spider-Man films. The bottom of the top 5 is Spider-Man: Homecoming and Spider-Man 3, and the top 2 are Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. Spidey 2 is only about $25 million away, which could place Jumanji in 2nd place within about a month or so. So where does that leave us this week? Well, the box office premieres for February 9th are an interesting mix of genres. This week's headliner is The 1517 to Paris, a historical thriller starring Jenna Fisher, Judy Greer, and Thomas Lennon.
Here is a list of specialty codes that you are qualified for. Please review the list and choose your top 3. Turner.
Sir?
Hey, sir, sorry, the job I wanted is not on here. I don't see pararescue.
Looks like you didn't qualify.
What do you mean I didn't qualify? Passed the stamina test, I got a good ASVAB score. Doctors didn't say anything was wrong with me.
Looks like you were disqualified for lack of depth perception.
What?
You don't have depth perception. You can't be a PJ without it.
Are you serious?
Choose 3 jobs from the list in order of preference. Pick quickly or you might not get anything. We're only open for another 30 minutes.
3 Americans discover a terrorist plot aboard a train while in France. Now, this is directed by Clint Eastwood, and his prior historical dramas have premiered between $89 million for American Sniper, all the way down to $10 million for Flags of Our Fathers. The most recent data point was Sully, which pulled in $35 million in September of 2016. The 1517 to Paris is rated PG-13. If something a little more fluffy is your style this week, then the next title might be for you. That one's Peter Rabbit, an animated adventure comedy starring James Corden, Faisal Bossi, and Domhnall Gleeson.
All right, talk to me, Benjamin.
He's mowed half the lawn, which maybe gives us just enough time.
Look at him. Pure evil.
Hey, here's a crazy thought. What if we don't go in? Because last time he almost got caught.
Was so adorable.
I could just eat you up. That's exactly what he wants to do to you.
Take it all in, because we're about to take it all in. You all know the drill. I'm not going to pretend that what we're about to do isn't reckless, foolhardy, even dangerous. But we will succeed, because each of us plays a vital role, specifically tailored to our individual talents. Look out, look out, look out, look out, hero.
This is a feature-length adaptation of Beatrix Potter's classic tale of a rebellious rabbit trying to sneak into a farmer's vegetable garden. It's also one of my favorites from childhood. Peter Rabbit is rated PG. And finally, to wrap up this whole thing, we have the last story in a trilogy. It's 50 Shades Freed, a thriller starring Dakota Johnson, Jamie Dornan, and Ariel Cabell.
You insist on defying me, Mrs. Gray. What should I do about that?
Learn to live with it.
It's not my style. Do you remember your safe word?
Mm-hmm. Purple.
Hannah.
Red.
Good. Lift up your arms.
Anastasia and Christian get married, but Jack Hyde continues to threaten their relationship. I'd say that this was the last in the series, but if it performs well, who knows? There are no guarantees here, since the sequel premiered at half the first film's premiere. 50 Shades Freed is rated R. There are also 4 titles on this week's limited slate, and you can find those in the show notes. Next up is a look at the home entertainment slate for the week of February 6th, and I'll begin with new release on DVD and Blu-ray, and that list kicks off with the Caped Crusader himself in Batman: Gotham by Gaslight, an animated mystery film starring Bruce Greenwood, Jennifer Carpenter, and Anthony Head. In an age of mystery and superstition, how would the people of Gotham react to a weird creature of the night, a bat-garbed vigilante feared by the guilty and the innocent alike? This is the very first Elseworlds tale, and it's reimagined as the Dark Knight detective is in Victorian times, and he's pitted against the infamous murderer, Jack the Ripper. It's also not for kids, because Batman: Gotham by Gaslight is rated R. Number 2 on the list is A Bad Mom's Christmas, a comedy starring Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, and Katherine Hahn. Amy, Carla, and Kiki struggle to cope when their respective mothers visit for the holidays. A Bad Mom's Christmas is rated R. And number 3 on the list is Only the Brave, a drama starring Ben Hardy, Jennifer Connelly, and Taylor Kitsch. This is a drama based on the elite crew of men who battled a wildfire in Prescott, Arizona in June of 2013, and that fire claimed the lives of 19 of their members. Only the Brave is rated PG-13. Swinging by new release on digital video, we have The Darkest Hour, a biographical drama starring Gary Oldman, Lily James, and Ben Mendelsohn. Within days of becoming Prime Minister, Winston Churchill must face his most turbulent and defining trial, exploring a negotiated peace treaty with Nazi Germany or standing firm to fight for the ideals, liberty, and freedom of his nation. Darkest Hour is rated PG-13. Moving right along to TV on DVD and Blu-ray, start things there with Homeland, Season 6 from 2017, starring Claire Danes, Mandy Patinkin, and Rupert Friend. Now living in New York City, Carrie gets swept up in the after effects of the U.S. presidential election as she struggles to deal with an injury-ravaged Peter Quinn and an increasingly suspicious Saul Berenson. When the president-elect battles the CIA during her transition to power, Carrie finds herself caught in the crossfire in the acclaimed series that continues to deliver stunning twists and edge-of-your-seat suspense.
When we first moved to New York, we had a great apartment that was dirt cheap.
And we found out why it was so cheap.
Our friend Amy said there was a great apartment in her building.
Dirt cheap, but it's a hotel for women. Okay, we made one adjustment.
Now these other ladies know us as Buffy and Hildegard.
But they also know us as Kip and Henry, Buffy and Hildy's brothers. I am crazy about the blonde.
This experience is going to make a great book.
See, it's all perfectly normal.
I don't need you to worry for me, 'cause I'm all right. I don't want you to tell me it's time to come home. I don't care what you say anymore, this is my life. Go ahead with your own life, leave me alone.
The second TV title is Bosom Buddies, the complete series, spanning 1980 to 1982 and starring Tom Hanks, Peter Scolari, and Donna Dixon. A guy's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. After the old apartment building collapses, best friends and struggling admin Kip Wilson and Henry Desmond must dress up as women to rent the only other place they can afford in New York City, the female-only Susan B. Anthony Hotel. Tom Hanks stars in the hilarious sitcom that launched his Academy Award-winning career in Bosom Buddies, as Kip and Henry begin their secret lives as Buffy and Hildegard. They quickly learn that with a little moxie and a lot of makeup, anything is possible.
Well, there is trouble in my mind. Well, there is dark, there's dark and there is light. There is no order, there is chaos and there is crime. There is no one home tonight. When the empire of my mind is
Number 3 on the list is The Guardian, the complete series, spanning 2001 to 2004 and starring Simon Baker, Alan Rosenberg, and Raphael Sbarge. The Guardian never settles. In one of television's greatest legal dramas, The Guardian returns to DVD for all 3 of its heart-pounding seasons, with Simon Baker starring as Nick Fallon, a handsome hotshot attorney busted on a drug charge in order to perform 1,500 hours of community service. And just when Nick thought he had lost everything, he found a true calling to help the less fortunate. However, making a difference isn't always easy. Nick is caught between his father, Burton, the founder of Pittsburgh's legendary law firm Fallon & Associates, and Alvin Masterson, who runs the firm where Nick follows his passion as a child advocate lawyer. The fourth set continues this retro review with Duckman, the complete series, spanning 1994 to 1997, starring Jason Alexander, Greg Berger, and Nancy Travis. Private Dick Family Man, he's crude, he's rude, he's lewd, yes, he's the total dick. Duckman, the slovenly, smart-mouthed private eye ladies don't like, and men don't want to be like. Together with Cornfed, his portly porcine partner in crime solving, this defective detective amazingly manages to solve crimes and be a single parent to his hilariously dysfunctional sons at the same time. Now every irreverent episode from all 4 outrageous seasons of this Emmy-nominated series are available in this complete series collection. You have been warned. Speaking of rude and crude, number 5 is The Ren and Stimpy Show, the mostly complete collection spanning 1991 to 1996 and starring John Kricfalusi, Billy West, and Harris Pete. Strap on your happy helmet and get ready for the unlimited joy with this nearly complete collection of The Ren and Stimpy Show. This 9-disc set features all 5 seasons and over 100 wacky tales starring the twisted twosome Ren and Stimpy, along with fan favorites Powdered Toast Man and Mr. Horse. No, sir, I don't like it. Don't be an idiot! This collection is a demented dream come true. This week's final TV title is War of the Worlds, the complete series, spanning 1988 to 1990 and starring Jared Martin, Linda Mason Green, and Philip Aiken. Based on the groundbreaking novel by H.G. Wells and the 1953 film of the same name, this classic television series thrusts sci-fi addicts and action-adventure fans directly into the fiery crucible. Decades after it appeared that the ruthless alien invaders were killed off by common bacteria, increased radiation wipes out the Earth-saving organisms. Brought back from suspended animation, the enemy uses their body-snatching ability to adopt human form. Immediately, the invading force begins formulating plans for the final genocidal war. In the first explosive season, a small army of human resistance fighters managed to thwart the aliens' efforts to take over Earth. After this intergalactic battle turns our world into a post-apocalyptic wasteland, the second season finds the remaining warriors fighting a new wave of invaders. With all human life at stake, these heroes battle to save what remains of the planet in this powerful complete series collection that includes all 43 thrilling action-packed episodes of this timeless science fiction epic. I'll wrap up the home entertainment slate with Blu-rays from the past, and after that slate, I'm going cute. I have Benji, the family adventure film from 1974 starring Peter Breck, Deborah Wally, and Patsy Garrett. This is the first movie about the famous golden mutt. Benji is a stray who has nonetheless worked his way into the hearts of a number of the townspeople who give him food and attention whenever he stops by. His particular favorites are a pair of children who feed and play with him against the wishes of their parents. Of course, because that's how it works. When the children are kidnapped, however, the parents and police are at a loss to find them, and only Benji can track them down. But will he be in time? If he can save the day, he may just find the permanent home he's been longing for. Benji is rated G. After a brief break for about a shameless podcast cross-promotion, the Weekly Podioplex will return.
So Ghost infected Frank. He passed it on to the other guys, and I got it from his corpse? Right.
Hello, Echo. How are you feeling?
Did I fall asleep?
For a little while.
Previously on Heroes.
You had to go and be the detective, didn't you, Matt?
I'm not an aggressive person, but...
Oh, man, there's just way too much on all these channels.
Things, but only in-game.
Everybody lives, Rose. Just this once. In your dreams, Nutloaf.
Bite my shiny metal hat.
Sometimes I get visions.
Walter, what are you doing? What you learn, son?
I wish there was some way to find out what's really worth watching.
There is.
What? Who? What was that?
Tuning into Sci-Fi TV is the viewer's guide to genre television.
Where is that coming from?
With its spoiler-free quick reviews and water cooler and the spoiler-filled in-depth back porch discussions, Tuning into Sci-Fi TV is the only resource fans need to know what's on, what's good, and what's coming soon in science fiction and fantasy television.
How did you get into my house?
Join Kevin, Wendy, and Brent each week for the latest in genre television.
I'm calling the police.
You can find Tuning into Sci-Fi TV at tuningintoscifitv.com.
No, seriously. How did you get into my house?
The news was a bit sparse this week, so Denise got a well-deserved break. On the downside, you have an entire episode with just me to deal with. On the upside, we're at the end of a new edition of the Weekly Podioplex. You're saved. If you want to discuss anything you heard on this week's edition, or the show in general, we would love to hear from you. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you think we can do better. You can surf on over to the Chronic Rift homepage at chronicrift.com and leave an audio message right there on the website using your microphone. Just click the little widget that says send voicemail and follow the prompts. You can also write an email or send an MP3 to weeklypodioplex@gmail.com, or even go short form with Twitter. The Chronic Rift is chronic_rift. The Weekly Podioplex is Weekly Podioplex. Denise is Riley James Keith, and I am Womprat99, like the creature local bullseye in his T16 in Beggar's Canyon. You can give the Chronic Rift a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio, leave us a review on iTunes, and you can find the Weekly Podioplex and the Chronic Rift on Facebook. The usual disclaimer applies, of course. If you leave us feedback, you may hear your words on a future edition of the Weekly Podioplex. Take a moment, stop on by, and see what other shows the Chronic Rift Network has to offer. The main show is making a comeback in 2018 and is offered weekly via Facebook Live on Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Grab a cup and join in the fun, or download the audio version later in the podcast feed. We also explore our favorite aspects of genre entertainment with the Batcave podcast, the OSI Files podcast, the G2V podcast, Generations Geek, presenting the transcription feature, the Dan and Travis Show, the Sci-Fi Diner podcast, Doctor Who and Mr. Drew, the Home Game Show version podcast, and so much more. If you have a Roku player, you can treat it like a time machine with the Chronic Rift's Roku channel, which houses episodes of the Chronic Rift's adventures in the 1990s, when it was a public access television show on the New York City airwaves. John has also been uploading those episodes to YouTube, so no Roku, no problem. Check us out and find the culture in pop culture. If you're interested in more of my adventures, take a quick trip to my blog, Creative Criticality, where I'm watching every episode of Doctor Who from the very beginning of the franchise and reviewing those tales in the Timestamps Project. This week, I'm continuing the 22nd season with the 6th Doctor and Time Lash. There are days that I regret my life choices. Time Lash. You can find that review and so many more, so many better ones, at creativecriticality.wordpress.com. You can also find Creative Criticality on Facebook. Denise can also be found on the internet at Accessories Not Included, where she talks about her writing, reviews books, and offers her services as an artist and cover designer. She did the logo for Creative Criticality, and, I'm a little bit biased, but I think she does great work. You can check her out at accessoriesnotincluded.com. If you decide to pick up any of this week's new releases, why not do it through our Amazon store? You get the newest entertainment at Amazon's low prices and high-quality service, and each purchase you make that store supports the Chronic Rift Network. And your support, it keeps us on the air. We appreciate your consideration. Look for the links to our best bets and the network store in our show notes, or click the Amazon box on the website. The Weekly Podioplex is a Lucky Shot production and is produced by John S. Drew. On behalf of Denise and John, this is Michael Faulkner. Thanks for listening. Until next time, there are adventures and drama, comedy and action, worlds to explore in the depths of film. Get some popcorn, find your favorite seat, and enjoy the journey.